नमस्कार आपण समस्त को यही भिडियो बहुत बहुत स्वागत। आज भिडियो मुझे आपण सहित प्लस थ्री थर्ड सेमिस्टर पॉलिटिकल साइंस ऑनर्स अंडरस्टैंडिंग कंपैरेटिव पॉलिटिक्स यूनिट 1 रो किछि 1 मार्क्स क्वेश्चन आंसर आपण सह ही वीडियो में शेयर करी आ वीडियो आगो को कहबी जे आपण माने यार पीडीएफ टी को किपरि भाबे पाई परिबे। तो चलंतु स्टार्ट करबा। फास्ट टाइम देखिबा द ओरिजिनल आइडिया ऑफ सिस्टम्स एनालिसिस एमानेट्स फ्रॉम डेस ना बायोलॉजी बायोलॉजी रो ही जो ओरिजिनल आइडिया सिस्टम एनालिसिस रो सो कोन निर्गत होईची। डेविड स्टोन फॉर एग्जांपल हैज अप्लाइड द सिस्टम थ्योरी टू डेस ना पॉलिटिक्स। डेविड स्टोन फॉर एग्जांपल गोटे उदाहरण रे ही अप्लाइड द सिस्टम थ्योरी टू पॉलिटिक्स। This analysis implies system as a set of interactions. Systems analysis implies system as a set of interactions. Comparative politics were carried out by this ancient Greeks. Comparative politics were carried out by ancient माने कौन ancient Greek रू से सब आछि। This is perhaps one of the first written statements of comparative politics. The Bible perhaps one of the first written statement of the comparative politics. The study of comparative politics become highly significant in this 1950s 1950s रे the study of politics comparative politics रो कोन बहुत significant थिला। The traditional approaches were broadly predominant till the occurrence of the Death War of ना second world war रो traditional approaches सब कोन broadly predominant हैला till कोन occurrence। The supporters of the traditional approaches stress various norms such as what ought to be or should be rather than what is. Several Greek philosophers such as Plato and Aristotle were the creators of this approach, traditional approach. Plato and Aristotle were creators of traditional approaches. This approach is conventional approach to study politics. Philosophical approach is conventional approach to study politics. The idea of a system was entirely borrowed from this ना biology. The idea of a system was entirely borrowed जो राशि कौन biology राशि अछि। The greatest attribution of the this approach to study of politics emanates from the writings of Marx and Engels economic. The greatest attribution of the economic approach to study of politics emanates from writing of Marx and Engels. This approach is also known as the statistical approach. Quantitative approach is also known as the statistical approach. The notion of system theory was emerged from time dates back to 1920s. 1920s, the notion of system theory was emerged from ancient time. This is considered as the earliest advocate of the general system theory. Ludwig von Bernoulli is considered as the earliest advocate of the general system theory. Easton said that both demands and supporters establish this inputs. Easton said that both demands and supports establish inputs. Gabriel Almond was an advocate of this approach, structural functional approach. So Gabriel Almond was an advocate of structural function. This means the study of with help of image construction or model building. Simulation means the study with help of image construction or model building. This approach is another example of simulation approach. Decision making approach is another example of simulation approach. Scholars like this have developed simulation approach. Scholars like Richard Snyder and Charles Lindom have developed simulation approach. Marxists specified that all societies in history have been dead societies, not class societies. Marxists have specified that all society in history all society have been class societies. This is an extension of political activity. Political process is an extension of political activity. Now we discuss question one word answers. Who was a faithful supporter of behavioralism, later became a strong opponent of behavioralism? Now, David Storm was a faithful supporter of behavioralism, later became a strong opponent of behavioralism. Who was an advocate of structural functions approach? Almond was an advocate of structural functional approach. Who first defined communication theory approach? Robert Weiner first defined communication theory approach. Who developed communication theory approach and applied in the political science? Carl Deutsch developed communication theory approach and applied in political science. Who compares different constitutions by introducing a famous typology based on two criteria: the number of the rulers, one, few, and many; the nature of political regime, good or corrupt. Aristotle compare different constitutions by introducing a famous typology based on two criteria: the number of rulers, one, few, and many; and the nature of the political regime, good or corrupt. Next, who embarks on the first major cross-national survey of attitudes to determine the role of political culture to maintain the stability of democratic regimes? Almond and Verba embarks on the first major cross-national survey of attitudes to determine the role of political culture and to maintain the stability of democratic regimes. Who made great contribution to the concept of power? 1957 in the field of political science. Robert A. Dahl made a great contribution in the concept of power 1957 in the field of political science. Who articulated the theory of separation powers, which is implemented in many constitutions throughout the world? Montesquieu articulated the theory of separation of powers, which is implemented in many constitutions throughout the world. Next, who first promoted the concept of social system? Talcott person first promoted the concept of a social system. Who developed the concept of a social system? Political system. Now, David Easton developed the concept of a political system. Who described power of a certain kind of human relationship? Friedrich described power as a certain kind of a human relationship. Who defined a system in a set of elements studying in interactions? Battle, bet, bet, Battlefly, sorry, pronounce ଟିକେ ଭୁଲ ହେଉଛି, ମିଷ୍ଟେକ୍ ହେଉଛି. Battlefly define the system in a set of elements studying in interaction. I hope you understand. Which tradition is originated towards the study of single countries? The first tradition is oriented towards the study of single countries. Which tradition is methodological and is principally concerned with establishing rules and standards of the comparative analysis? The second tradition is in methodological and is principally concerned with establishing rules and standards of comparative analysis. Which tradition comparative politics analytical in that it combines empirical substance and method? The third tradition of comparative politics in analytical in that combines empirical substance and method. Who offers a set of input and output function? Almond offers a set of input and output functions. Aristotle, more a scientist, collected approximately how many constitutions of his time, mainly from Greek cities but from the other areas as well, and 150. Aristotle, more scientist, collected approximately 150 constitutions of his time, mainly from the Greek cities states but from other areas as well. In his book The Spirit of Laws, who attempt move to beyond the constitutional producers of a country to examine its rule, culture, and spirit? Montesquieu. The writers of which phase utilize comparative method for the primary purpose of better understanding the working of political organization? First, the writer of first phase utilize उपयोग कले to comparative method for the primary purpose of better understanding the working of political organizations. तो ये किसी 1 मार्क्स क्वेश्चन आंसर यूनिट 1 रो आ नेक्स्ट आम कौन यूनिट 2 रो मुझे आपन सब वीडियो सेट करी तो यहीपरी वीडियो पे चैनल रे एढ़ियांतु नोस्ट शेयर मध्य करंतु जदि आपन माने यार पीडीएफ चाहती ता डिस्क्रिप्शन रे मु हमर टेलीग्राम ग्रुप रो लिंक दे देछि आपन माने सेठी जागिर पाई परिबे. तो थैंक यू टू ऑल ऑफ वाचिंग दिस वीडियो.